JT Crowley is Talking Books. On the show, you'll hear from emerging talent and seasoned veterans from around the world. They'll give you their take on the writing process and how to create the secret sauce of page-turning deliciousness. Let's get into that magical mixture of the art and science of creativity. Here's JT Crowley, author of The Smart Kids, and your podcast host.
Hello, I'm JT Crowley, and this week I'm going to take you to the US states of Colorado, Montana, and Wyoming. Well, you might well ask, why these three beautiful Rocky Mountain states? Well, the answer is quite simple, everybody. It's because this week's author, Cricket Rohman, has set her 4 novels that make up the Mcallister Brothers series. She's set the stories there. So that's why we're going to Montana, Colorado, and Wyoming. Beautiful states. She refers to them as, well, she's entitled to, because she wrote the books, as romantic Western adventures. In my written introduction, I summarized them as Western cowboy suspense thrillers with a touch of romance. For me, that was coming from a male perspective. So it'll be interesting to see if Cricket agrees with me or not. We'll ask her. And we'll also be talking about another one of her books, a standalone book, which is called Saving Madeleine. That's an endearing story of 2 women reacting and coping with the main character's mother, who has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So, enough of my chit-chat and waffle. Let's get down to the point here. Let's invite Cricket onto the show. Cricket, welcome to Talking Books.
Well, I'm delighted to be here, and I loved your introduction, especially your redo of the categories. I'm kind of limited in what I can use, but I think I might give the online retailers a call and see if they might make some changes. If they won't. Yeah. But I will enjoy the process of asking, and that will be my entertainment for the day.
There you go. It's a great pleasure to have you on the show. So I'm going to talk about the Mcallister series first. And everybody, there are 4 books in this series. But Cricket, you grew up in the wilds of Colorado, didn't you? With the mountain lions, the bobcats, the deer, the coyotes, the cattle ranchers, the cowboys on their horses, and the cattle dogs running alongside them. So the location of the books is almost second nature to you. So my question to you is, are these books really a love affair of your past?
Well, I hadn't thought of it that way, but yes, they are. And it's hard not to. Well, I love nature. I love animals. I love the outdoors. And I was fortunate enough to grow up surrounded by mountains and all the things you just mentioned. And I guess it is. It's somewhat of a love affair. And I did write that first book, Colorado Takedown, from a log cabin in the mountains.
I suspected that. I'm going to come to that. You see, she's quite sneaky, everybody. There's lots of twists and turns in these books. So let's go to the first book, Cricket, Colorado Takedown. Here you introduce us to Trace. And now Trace is the youngest brother in the Mcallister family. And you introduce us to the character Hannah, who's, how shall I say, a bit of a naive city girl, especially for country life. And she's there, she's moved up to Colorado, setting up her own ranch for the first time, having won the lottery, and dreaming of a new life of being an artist and painting. But it doesn't go quite according to plan, does it?
Oh, gosh,
Do you want to embroider on this story?
Well, she came with her friend.
Yeah.
They're just friends. And they had a plan, although I do think that the man's plan was a little different than hers. And he didn't always share everything. And, basically I killed him off right away.
You did?
So she doesn't know anything about the country life, although she thinks that's what she wants, but she knows nothing.
No, she doesn't. Because in the storyline, yes, she wins the lottery, but there's a scam, isn't there? But who's doing the scamming?
Well, now that's part of the mystery.
It is.
Several scams and twists and turns that are going on there. And actually, one of them you don't even really know the answer until you finish book 4. But I do wrap each book up, but I leave a couple of questions unanswered, so you just have to go forward.
Absolutely. Was it your intention to spice up the storylines, with a bit of on-off romances between the main characters of the books? And was that you doing that so that, you could bring in female readers here for what would be potentially a male-dominated book?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I thought that I was going to be a romance writer. And I figured that my main audience would be women, because women like to read about men.
Yeah.
So that's where I started. It just, I don't know. I'm an eclectic reader, and I think my writing is very eclectic too, which actually for marketing is a problem for that too. The romance readers just want a lot more romance, and a lot more heat with their romance, and that's really not me. I like love. I like love and I like romance, but I don't like graphic romance. But even, and you call these delicate romances, I think, or something.
I did.
Like
I put in my written introduction, delicate love scenes.
And I think that's all I'm capable of doing. Even writing those. Actually, I know where it's going to go, and I type in capital letters, love scene goes here, because, well, I have to be in the mood to write them.
Mm.
So then I go back and try to write them. But even then, sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm not even looking at the keyboard or the screen when I'm typing, because I'm just kind of a old-fashioned girl.
Do you know what I love about your books? It's the twists, the turns of these books, the unexpected surprises, and especially in the first book, Colorado turned up. I wasn't expecting. Oh, Rick and Rudy, a twin. Was this plot, this storyline of this book, easy for you to write, create, or did you struggle with it?
I pretty much struggle with every book. I do a lot of pre-writing. I try to get the main plot points, but figuring out how to get from plot point A to plot point B takes me a bit of time. It really takes me. I spent a year on each one of those books. I much faster, but I not only, well, maybe I just think too much. I don't know. And then, sometimes I will rewrite one sentence 10 times because I'm a little bit particular about my words. And first, second, third try, they don't necessarily come out the way I'm happy with. So,
well, yeah, you said, when I look at your background, you right from a child, you love reading books, but you didn't actually start to love writing books till 1984.
That's absolutely right. I had, and I assume that other people have had this experience too. As a child.
Me too.
Okay. No one taught me how to write. As I recall, teachers would assign a writing assignment. And then you'd write it, and you'd get your paperback full of red marks later. And basically, they just marked spelling and grammar. And no one ever taught me how to write. I learned spelling and grammar pretty well, but not the writing process at all. So to me, writing was a chore. I never got to write what I wanted to write. So I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. But when I was a teacher, I started writing things for children, which came very naturally. And I was a good teacher, and I wrote 125 8-page emergent readers that helped teachers teach reading to 5 and 6-year-olds. And that was a blast. I loved doing that. And I said,
my mother was an English teacher. So when I wrote my little story, all I would get is "see me" at the bottom in red. See me. Oh. I hated it. And I didn't start writing, until, a couple of years ago. But so I can relate to you there, very much so. I wanted to move swiftly on here, Cricket, if you don't mind. I want to take you to the second book. And this one, of course, is Montana Countdown. And this is where you introduce the older brother, Troy. Now, Troy likes to be a bit of a hero, doesn't he? That's what he sees himself. And then you introduce us to Ivy, the budding novelist. And she's there for a fortnight's adventure at Troy's ranch. And all the break-ins, all the vandalism's going on here. And I'm thinking, I can see that the Mcallister family are rich. And I'm thinking, have they got enemies? Is somebody after their wealth? What wealth? What are they after? And is Ivy and like Hannah in the first book just caught up in this web of the Mcallister brothers? What's the story here?
It's definitely a lifestyle and location that neither are used to, really. And of course, Ivy had no intention of going to meet a man. That was just not even.
Oh
no. But it happened. It was awkward. And Troy, the older brother, he was, on the surface, he appeared to be a ladies' man, and he was kind of into fashion. He kind of liked to look cool, but he wanted no part of a relationship.
No, he just wanted to womanize and go to the gym in his barn. Yeah.
By the women, the female horse riders that come into his ranch to practice their synchronized horse riding.
Yeah.
He loved that attention, but he didn't want a relationship. So it was a little awkward. It was very awkward at first, and it just kind of happened. She was different. She wasn't trying to impress him, and that struck him as interesting.
She was a little bit precocious, and she wasn't interested. She was different, very different.
She was different, and she was hardworking, and she came from she was an EMT and a paramedic, and she was, kind of a tough gal that could take care of herself in certain ways.
I thought that because in the book, he told her to leave the calf, but she tended that calf, didn't she, on the mountainside? And he thought, where's this come from? This was her medical background, wasn't it?
Yeah, she was fearless when it came to others, and she just, even as some of it's kind of a dude ranch there too, but some of the guests at the ranch just got a kick out of her because she helped insects. She helped everything that she could help. And if something was struggling or hurting, she just took care of it, no matter whether there's a cougar coming at you or not.
Oh, I like that. I like that little story there of the mountain lion. And I loved it there. And she adopts the little coyote pup, doesn't she? And she calls it Shadow. It's only 8 weeks old.
She doesn't know that it's a coyote pup for quite a while.
Not until Troy tells her.
No, actually, let me think. I'm pretty sure this is right now. Kitschy He's a Native American man, and he's Troy's right hand, and has been from day one. He knew right away because he was out in the woods doing his own version of a gym workout. He did it out in the forest, and so he saw those coyotes.
And Sage is a fascinating character, isn't she, on the reception desk? She seems to know what's going on.
Sweetheart, and I actually this series has given me so much material. If I ever want to do like a spin-off. One of the other characters, I've got lots to pick from.
Oh, you sure have. You sure have. And in all of your books, there's a theme of manipulation. They're tense. The storylines they're real page turners. And again, we see this, in the third book, Wyoming Sundown. And here we see the father Clint setting a challenge, a contest to bring the two sons together because they're like brothers, on and off, and they've not seen each other for a couple of years because they're in different states, different ranches, doing different things. And of course, he sets up this challenge, doesn't he, to go horseback cross racing, across Wyoming. To try and put the two brothers together, of course, which Alice, their mother and Clint's wife, says, that's not going to happen. And so do you want to tell us why you set this contest up in this book?
Well, this was one of the hardest books I think I ever wrote because I had the premise. I wanted to bring the whole family together. That was the initial idea, to bring the whole family together. And Clint's a tough old guy, and Alice is even tougher.
She rolls the roast.
She does, and she gets even more ornery in book 4.
Oh, yes.
I wanted to bring the family together. So that was my main goal. And then I came up with a premise that, there'd be this, the dad would do this dangerous contest for his sons. I'm not sure why, but it gave him he's had a tough time because he's been wheelchair bound for about the last 15 years and he hasn't done much. And this idea of this challenge gave him new energy and he was kind of more like himself. He was excited about this. But my premise was, okay, here's 2 cowboys on horseback each riding alone, one coming from the north, one coming from the south. They're going to meet in the middle in Wyoming in the middle of the winter in snow. So I thought, okay, there's a pretty vague premise. And how do I do dialogue when they're by themselves most of the time?
Absolutely. I was thinking, how's she going to do this? Because, no man in his right mind would do that in the middle of winter in Wyoming, would they?
No. So that's kind of when I thought, I've got to bring the women in more. And once I brought the women in, they each had their own point of view chapters and things. Then the story just kind of, then it took off and I couldn't write it fast enough. And
no, because Alice has got her own idea about this. And when we look at the book, we're now on book 3, the 2 Mcallister brothers and their girlfriends, they've moved on from being just friends to a little bit more. And in this book, you actually say they're fiancés. And I think you're hinting at what's coming up in the 4th book, Wild Weddings. And when I see this 4th book, everybody, Alice is a very strong character in this book. And you tend to think, don't you, that Clint's going to be the strong character, but it's really Alice. It's the women who are the strong characters in your books, aren't they?
Yes. Yes, you're right about that. It wasn't my initial intention, but as they all grew, everybody grew and became stronger and more with greater purpose, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you know, horses feature very much in all of your books, don't they? You love horses, don't you?
You love horses. I can't ride horses. I love horses. My husband, once he retired, he trains horses and he takes care of horses. And but
because your husband Jerry has had a huge influence on creating your stories, hasn't he? Because he's consultant in the horsing, the training. He's had a huge effect on your books, hasn't he? A huge impact.
He does, because I see him come home. He comes home battered and bruised, like on a daily basis, practically. We just got through having 5 tears in his shoulder fixed because, you know, he's even training older horses that have never been ridden, that have been like wild horses out on the range, and you know, it doesn't always go well.
No.
So that's, they're very often when he's home. He's not, because he does the horse thing and he loves it. So that's great. And then I'm here doing the writing thing and I love that. So it works well. But I do, when he's here, I run out and I go, honey, what do you call that thing that goes over the nose when he's great with that. And he always reads my books before I even send him for a final editing with my editor. So he always reads them and goes, well, you sure you do that? I go,
why not? You know, in, you know, Wyoming Sundance, apart from the usual twists and turns, we start to see, as I said to you, the romance blossoming here between Hannah and Ivy and Troy and Trace. And for, you know, all right, you've got your hardened cowboys, but really they're a bit of softies at heart, aren't they? These two brothers.
And they discovered that they're much better with their women.
Yes, absolutely. When will we see your 4th book coming out, Wild Weddings?
Wild Weddings. Well, actually, it was just put up for. I tried to do at least a 6-week pre-order for readers, and then I for 99 cents. Oh my gosh, that's just a killer. But that's okay, because I do want people to read the books. So it's up for pre-order on Amazon right now. And I think the release date, though, isn't until January 12th for getting the books, and I may put the paperback up sooner, though.
Because I was thinking, are they going to get, are there going to be weddings here? Are they going to get married? You know, you don't actually, you really do tease the reader here. Are they? Aren't they? They might do. Who knows? So book 4 really does pull all of these books together. The family come together. The romances are, moving along here. But I'm not going to give the storyline away here, guys. You're just going to have to read the book to find out, are there weddings? What happens? Isn't that right, Cricket?
I appreciate that. It's really, it's hard for me not to, like when I'm writing the blurb that goes on all the sales pages and things, I want to tell them the exciting parts, but if I tell them the really exciting parts, then it's a spoiler alert,
Oh no! I mean, I've always learned that the art of writing a good book is getting the readers to turn the pages. And for me, these series of 4 books in the Mcallister Brothers series does that. I couldn't, when I was reviewing them, I just couldn't put them down. I says it took me days and days, and I was thinking, just will you tell us what's happening here? And then I had to put that down. And then I realized I was missing things. And so, as you do when you get a good book, I've forgotten to do this, forgot to do that. So these books, guys, are absolutely tension-filled, thrillers, mystery. It's been a real labor of love actually going through these books, guys. I just can't emphasize that enough. But I want to take you now, Cricket, to your standalone book. if that's okay with you. And this is Saving Madeline, everybody, to which you describe, and these are your description. It says, this is a contemporary fiction, entertaining, you say, humour, emotion, and an unusual mother-daughter relationship. So I thought, okay, let's have a look. And having had previous chats with you, I think you wrote this book to talk about a character that's living with Alzheimer's and all the devastating cruelty that comes with this debilitating, degrading disease. Because I think you've experienced this yourself, haven't you? And this is why I think you felt compelled to write this story, because you wanted to tell a story about Alzheimer's, but do it in your style, with twists, turns, fillers. And you put the characters in, Roxy, the out-of-work actor, and then Jin, the ex-army veteran who's blind from a wound, an incident that took place in Afghanistan. And you put them all in an apartment to look after the mother, and then you make her disappear. And I'm going, I've got to ask this lady, where did you create this plot from? You going to share this with us?
I'll be happy to share. I'll try to hold it together while I share this with you. But both of my parents had Alzheimer's, both of them.
Okay.
10 years older than mom. So it ended to be, it was a lot of years were covered with me learning about and helping them in their situations. So they both passed away. They lived to be in their 90s, which really wasn't a blessing because they had Alzheimer's, severe Alzheimer's, the last 8 years of their life. So I thought, well, I'm a writer. I'll write a memoir of that 14-year span, because a lot of very interesting things did happen. And I started plotting it, and I thought, you know what? And I read other books about Alzheimer's some that were sort of fiction or fictionalized a little bit, but most of them were true stories. And they were such downers. I didn't want to write a book that I didn't want to read, and I didn't want to make other people feel bad, which Alzheimer's is a topic that can make you feel pretty bad.
Sure.
I had the idea, well, no, I'll write a story that's total fiction, and I'll just give the readers a glimpse of Alzheimer's, but not slam them with it, just a glimpse of it, because I do want more people to understand it a little bit better. Madeline actually has the early onset type of Alzheimer's, which is obviously starts at an earlier age, and it moves much swifter. So I did have to do a little bit of research for that. And Roxy, the struggling actor, well, I did that. I was a struggling actor for about 10 years. And,
I'm coming to that.
Okay, well, so that part I pretty much had covered in my mind. I had to do more research for Jin, and I did a lot of online research, but then I also did some interviews too. I interviewed people that had been wounded in war.
Yeah.
Very, very candid with me and talking with me about that. Let's see. And then Madeleine, she shows up, about a third of the way into it?
She does.
Roxy's older sister just drops her mother off because she's getting too difficult to handle.
Now, Monica's not a nice sister, is she?
She is just awful.
Yes, she is. She's awful, everybody. Monica, she's a doctor, high flying, thinks she knows it all. No, I didn't like her. Roxy was for me.
Roxy was feisty. Monica was uppity. But it takes them quite a while to figure out what the problem is. And they go through a lot of ups and downs dealing with the odd behavior and things like that. Most of the odd behavior that ended up in the book is pretty darn faithful because I lived through it with my mother.
I thought Jin came up with a few odd ideas, didn't she?
She did.
I was thinking, okay, right.
Like the mice.
You see, when I look at all of your characters, your female characters, I'm thinking there's you in an awful lot of these characters, because when we go back to Hannah, artist, painter, and then we look at Ivy, writing, you love writing. Roxy, she's an actor, you are an actor. She's out of work actor, you obviously were an out of work actor. A singer. I can see all these female characters. There is something of you in all of these characters. I'm right, aren't I?
Darn it, John, you're right.
Good for me. Yes.
You're right. I mean, they're not me, but and obviously the things that happen in the stories, most of them did not happen to me. But as far as the characters, who they are, yeah, there's always a little bit of me. And I kind of think most authors do. I don't do it intentionally, but those are the ideas that
in the background. Yeah. I mean, I have to say what intrigues me is how you came up with the idea of putting the three women together, of different ages, background, abilities, requiring different things from life. And even, yes, you throw in there's a hint of romance there with an actor, James. There's just a hint, isn't there?
There is a hint, and for a while, but it's a very delicate hint, and it really never plays out in the book. But it leaves a few doors open if there were to be a sequel. That would not be a series, but there could be a sequel there.
Did you enjoy writing that book?
I did enjoy writing the book and coming up with like Jin's German Shepherd that she has to help her.
Oh yeah, tonic, gin and tonic.
But every now and then I am clever. That gave me joy to come up with the dog's name.
I like the dog. The dog is very, very astute. Yeah. And of course, dogs can pick up things that we humans can't. If a person's not feeling okay, the dog can sense it. And Tonic senses things, doesn't he?
Yes. It's quite a thrilling ending too. When Madeline goes missing, that becomes a big deal.
I know, the plastic bag full of certain things. I'm thinking, ooh, Cricket, I have to say, I've thoroughly enjoyed reviewing your books. I've loved the stories. But what I can't comprehend at the moment, everybody, is why is this author, Cricket Rohman, not, with her Western cowboy mystery thrillers, with the edge to romance, why, come on, literary agents, come on, publishers, why isn't this lady, on the best-selling lists, in bookshops? These stories are fabulous. So if any literary agents are going to listen in, publishers, take a look, because these stories are just absolutely amazing. They are the highest quality, and I know you're laughing here. And I have to say, to fellow authors, they are a true labor of love. Go and have a look at these guys. Go and sample a book and go and love them, because I certainly did. So I have to say to everybody, as I said, reviewing Cricket Rohman's Mcallister Brothers series of books and Saving Madeleine was a real labor of love. I've absolutely enjoyed them. So all you avid readers who love books, who love adventure, who love mystery, who love crime, who love tension, who love romance, these books have got the lot. Go and have a look at her books. Go and give her a go. Go and give her a chance. Get your reading buds tingling again with these exciting tense books. So all I'm left to say now is to Cricket, thank you so much for giving me the great pleasure of interviewing you, looking at your books, and thank you for coming on Talking Books.
Thank you for inviting me on. It was a pleasure for me too, and it's been a hard couple of years. I love to talk to readers. I love to talk to other authors, and it just the last couple of years it just hasn't happened. So thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's been a great pleasure. I'm JT Crowley, everybody, and as I say at the end of all my podcasts, thanks for listening, watching, wherever you are in the world. So until next time, stay safe.